David Charter joins me now from here in Washington, D.C. He is the U.S. editor of The Times, a British newspaper. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Well, first, I'd like to get your reaction when you heard the news that the Queen had passed away and any personal reflections you may have of Queen Elizabeth.
Well, I think like most British people today, I found it a shock because we, of course, knew she was extremely old and had had some health difficulties, but I think the final moments when they came were something of a surprise, and you can't prepare yourself for the loss of somebody who has been there throughout my life, throughout the lives of 80% of Britons have known no other head of state. And as your package just pointed out, she really was the anchor of the country as it's developed beyond recognition from the world that she grew up in a very closed and cloistered world of governesses. She didn't attend school or university. She was brought up with tutors, not knowing early on that she would be queen. And from that moment, she has shown the other word, I think, that's been repeated a lot today, this remarkable sense of duty. And that's the thing that sticks with me, that through thick and thin, really amazingly, she has kept her own counsel about her own thoughts on all manner of trials and tribulations that have faced the country, great financial crises, unpopular governments, big decisions like Brexit, leaving the European Union. And the Queen has kept her counsel and always been there as a focus and a figurehead that the whole country can get behind, whatever you think of the government of the day.
I want to get a couple of thoughts here. You mentioned duty. She was 96 years old, but yet we saw her just a few days ago meeting with the new UK Prime Minister Liz Truss. We all saw that photo, working until the very end. So talk to us about her duty and then the huge global reaction to her death.
Well, you've really hit on it there. I think people, part of the reason for the shock, I suppose, was that she was working and carrying out official functions right up until the last, and it was rather shocking, though, for British people to see the photograph of her, the last photograph, as it turns out, meeting our new Prime Minister Liz Truss, because she did look rather frail compared to the figure we'd seen not long ago. Of course, attending Jubilee events for her 70th Jubilee on the throne, and taking part, for example, in a very whimsical video that she made with the character Paddington Bear, sharing a pot of tea in Buckingham Palace while they listened to the crowds outside. That wasn't so long ago. She seemed in absolutely fine fettle. But of course, when you're 96, things can change, and as they did rapidly with her. And to get to your point about the international reaction, I mean, it's not surprising that there's been such an amazing worldwide response. I mean, after all, she is head of state of 15 countries. She remains head of state of those countries, including Canada and Australia and New Zealand, that retain strong bonds with the United Kingdom and through the monarchy. But beyond that, she visited more than 100 countries during her lifetime as the preeminent diplomat, really, for Britain. And in later years, that wasn't just shaking hands and having fine dinners. It was helping to sell the country and to tempt business to come to Britain was very much part of her role. For example, when President Trump came to Britain, he would bring with him some top American industrialists, and he would meet some top British industrialists as well on those two visits that he made. So it was a ceremonial job that was carried out impeccably, but it was also a diplomatic job of representing the country overseas. And I think the proof of her success is that she was the most famous woman in the world.
Now to King Charles III. What does the future hold for the British monarchy? And will the royal family without the Queen remain relevant to the British people? Do they have the same feelings for Charles, or will they grow to have that?
Well, I think one of the successes and legacies of Queen Elizabeth II is that she has put the royal family on a very firm footing. The succession is in place. We all know that Charles has become king, William has become the heir to the throne, and his eldest son George is now the next in line. And so the line of succession is settled and seems very robust to me. It's true that Charles has never had the same approval ratings as the Queen, not quite. He is well regarded by the British people. He's more idiosyncratic, and he's expressed more opinions that have perhaps made him more of a divisive character than the Queen, because she never expressed those kinds of political opinions. For example, he was very strongly behind environmental protection measures from many decades ago, very much ahead of the game. That will be toned down now, and he will perhaps make fewer commentaries about political aspects of life. In fact, there are only 2 big speeches a year made by the monarch traditionally, which is the Christmas Day broadcast and the Commonwealth Day broadcast. So if he falls back into that pattern, he will, I think, begin to show the same kind of authoritative and discreet personality that his mother really excelled at. But her shoes are, I would say, impossible to fill.
All right, David Charter, great to have you with us. We'd love to have you back on as the mourning period continues. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.